lot of firsts attached to her name. And very importantly, despite whatever that might be hanging around, she has never given up on her philanthropic tendencies, her charity. As long as she's concerned, hope must be kept alive. Who is this guest? Find out right after now. Okay, if you're just joining us, you're right on time because I'm about to showcase this wonderful woman who is not, in fact, she has actually signed off old age because every day she grows younger rather than grow older. She is known as a whole lot of things, but let's begin by introducing her as the very first Secretary General of the officers' wife, Nigerian officers' wives here in Nigeria. Actually, was in Ilori, and then she was also elected as the president of Retired Armed Forces and Police Officers' Wives Association. She founded the Wives of Representative Members Wife Association. And she is also known for a whole lot of things which we will showcase. Join me as I welcome them, Tumini Christy Akogu. Nice to have you, ma'am.
It's a pleasure.
Okay. I started by saying that people grow old, you grow young. Tell us, what's the secret?
Because I take things easy.
I noticed.
Yes.
Because when I walked in here, it was so exciting to be in your place. You know, from the door, with all the Christmas decorations already flying out, I felt welcome. I felt when I walked in a little bit, I also saw the lovely, manger you had set up somewhere to welcome baby Jesus. Thank you for that because it really put me in the right mood for this interview. I enjoyed it. And I also see Daddy with you. You know, he's 80 years.
Yes.
Not too long ago, he turned 80.
July, yeah.
Yes, I'm seeing his picture here. I've also seen him live. And he's not looking anything beyond 60. How do you manage to feed him? What do you do to make him look so young?
Well, we make sure that he's happy all the time. And he is quite prayerful. And we pray together. We eat together. And he doesn't eat much. And we do much. We give him a lot of seafood. From my background, we eat a lot of...
Yeah, River State.
Yes.
A lot of seafood.
Yes.
You know what you have stressed here for me? You know, you kept talking about happiness. When I asked you about yourself, you said, I try to be happy. And I asked about him, you say you make him happy.
Yes.
So happiness has a way of reducing age. And you're just reiterating it again. I'm happy for that. But back to, he was an officer and you were his wife.
Yes.
You are still his wife.
Yes.
But I want to go back to that days. To those days. I once spoke with the late Victoria Aguirre, and she said it wasn't that easy being a military person's wife. How did you manage, being a wife of a soldier?
Well, you didn't know any other way. We started that way. You had no other experience. So you only had to grow with where you find yourself. So we had to tolerate whatever we found out on our way as the course, the army directs you. You obey.
You move with it. Were there moments you panicked? So my husband has gone out. Is he going to make it back? Those worries.
A time that he was at work in Ilori, I was expecting my second child or third one. I can't remember. I was quite big, and I was cooking, and I heard on the radio martial music. Being with him for 2-3 years, and they've been in all this series of coups that time. So I caught that. I said, no, I had to pick the car key. I drove to the office. He was panicking when he saw the car. He said, who will have brought this? I drove there. I said, please, I said, please, my dear, come, let's go. Let's go. He couldn't understand it. His commandant was there. Other officers, they even came out, wondering what Madam would be looking for. I said, no. I was scared that martial music means there's a coup. There's trouble. So before anything can get to my husband or hurt him,
Let me
Let's
take
go.
him away.
He just got his driver, got oddly to the car, said he should drive me back.
And he stayed back.
Instead, he never came back.
Wow.
Until night.
Wow, they were really happy.
And that was a very
happened.
serious time for me. I was shaking, newly married couple and everything that is happening. You want safety for your husband. Mm-hmm. And we are coming from the war zone.
Okay, and then for 50 years you have stayed in that marriage. He's alive and you're still alive. Yes. And you're all having a good time with the children.
Right.
Okay, so and then he moved from being that to becoming a politician. Went for, the House of Rep. And again, the wife of a politician is also on edge. So how were you able to also manage it? Because I know with politics, it's hardly around again.
Yes, it wasn't there. It was always one meeting or the other, traveling, going. Actually, he started the politics by going in for governorship of Edo State. Okay. And I think that was before the date of Abuja. So by the time he was still campaigning when they said General Abuja has died. So, everything had to stop just like that. Whatever you are doing, it's like stop. So I was going to join him in Edo for campaign and take some more money back so that they will use it around. But when I heard the news, I said he will be waiting for me. There was no phone, no GSM.
No GSM, yes.
So if I don't go, he will be panicking. He will be so worried. So I went with my women. We drove. We had all kinds of encounters in Benin. By the time we got to Akoko Edo, it was something else. But we thank God we got home safely and we saw him. We said, "Come, no problem." And we had to wait for the next phase. When they gave them chance to take off, he now moved in, and the people, his own people said, "No, come and go for." I think they said he should go for Senate. It didn't. At that time, it didn't work out. He said, "Okay, he will take his time." They gave him one or two political appointments, member of the Uniben board, and so on. And later, he now went to go. In fact, actually, they came and lured him that he must come for reps, that nobody will go for his people. He should be the one. He has to go. They called me. I said, "I'm not part of it. I'm not a politician. I'm a business person. I don't want." They said they insisted, and he went. Because they called him, it was easy. If he won and he came to the house.
In all of this, I noticed that you have always had a way. You said, "Me and my women." You have always had a way of rallying women around you. In Ilori, you started the. I
was the first secretary of the NAWA.
Yes. So, how did you people start that in that place? What led to it?
No, but normally the culture of Nigerian Army, the wives must have that group. We call it Nigerian Army Officers' Wives Association. NAWA. So my husband had a boss, commandant at that time. I was a Colonel Diomu. The wife automatically president, and the governor's wife patron, so matron, whatever they called it, because the husband also a military man, Mrs. Bamboy. And when they formed, they gathered us together to start the NAWA meeting. They had to. We had an election. Everybody voted that I must be the secretary. I said, "You don't even know me before. We have just all come to Ilorin to serve. Why do you insist that I must be your secretary?" He said, No. As with my background, coming back from England, you should be the one to be our secretary. I was secretary until we left Ilorin.
Wow.
We went to Ibadan. Ibadan now, they chose me as the PRO of NAWA. We had Mrs. Geradamu's wife as the president. We moved from Ibadan to Lagos. Lagos people, you according to your zone cantonment, Ikeja, some other people in Ikoyi. Now they said I should be the zonal, the area woman leader in Ikeja. So when we go for meetings, I will speak for Ikeja now. So that's how it was all through until we left.
Even when you became, even when you retired.
That one was another mystery, yes. Because they formed that association, RAFPOA, Retired Armed Forces and Police Officers Association. When they said Lagos, every state must have its own chapter. Yes, it was the Women Affairs Commissioner. He said, now ladies, you have to choose who will be your leader. This is what the instruction we got from Abuja. That we must start Retired Armed Forces and Police Officers. And there were too many senior officers' wives. You know, the military, you're so disciplined that you don't want to talk when you have senior. No, you don't. They started voting. I was busy nominating the senior officers. Other people too, they were all conniving behind me that I must be the one. I said, it's possible. You have the admiral's wives, you have Air Vice Marshal's wife, general's wives, police, IG, they retired.
Why me?
Before you know it, they have finished. They gathered on the paper. They said, Mr. Kobo is it. I was shocked. I said, this is not what I came for. That's how we started, and I had no choice than to lead them.
Beautiful. Now, in all of this, we've tried to trace the journey all the way from Ilori till now. How has these associations really been able to impact on the lives of women, especially both the ones at the time you were there, you know, as an officer's wife, and then, of course, retired? Because a lot of times we want to know what is this doing for the ordinary woman in the society, especially your members.
Retired Armed Forces and Police Officers' wives, we did a lot of work together because I was in charge of Lagos State chapter. I had to try to write, I tried to get things, you know, like writing some companies in Lagos, oil companies, that people should make some donations to support women. That if they have any problem, we will donate to them. If they have any need, we'll look for help. I talk to the authorities. I used to come to Abuja to talk to people in defense, talk to people in Ministry of Health. Whatever the women needed, I will come round to discuss with the senior people in the ministry to make sure that they are comfortable.
Okay, that's nice. And now when you retired, your act of charity never stopped. You started, in fact, the first time I heard about you was when somebody told me about the Hope and Life. And Ningin. Okay, this is a part of what you do, your brochure. So I want to know, how did you birth this? What gave birth to it? How did you start this? Because I see a lot of charity you're doing. I had to flip through some pages and spoke with some people constantly in it. Tell us more about it.
Actually, you see, I have a background, a very lowly background. My dad died, I was about 5 months old, and my mom wasn't.
5 months?
Yes.
Oh.
My senior sister was about maybe 2 years or something, and my mom was not that kind. She wasn't, you know, back in the village. She didn't have anything apart from trading, buying fish and selling things and so on. There was not much for me to look up to help me to be what others were in those days. But somehow I knew I had to survive. I have to work hard. I have to do. In fact, I would trade. I would do whatever happens. I must go to school. I must live well. And my mom and my auntie, everybody believed in me. But so when I got married, and by the special grace of God, Daddy became house leader, I said I must do something to help. In fact, even before he went to House of Reps, I started going to his village to be paying school fees and giving JAMB fees and WAEC fees to some of the indigent students. But unfortunately, the first set of people we gave money, cash, we gave them cash instead of buying the form.
Yes.
They used the money to buy jeans and shoes and everything, and I never heard the end of it. I said, no more. I went away for some time, then I came back again. I said, this time I'm coming with form, JAM form, VAEC forms, everything, I'll pay and give to the principal. So they bring their parents, their guardians, and so on to my place. We will take photographs. You can see some of these where I'm giving them. It's our students in the village.
Okay.
Give them the forms to fill. At least the principal will guide them. And a few years back now, I found that some of them graduated in the university. I was very thrilled. I said, oh, Father, this is something that, I didn't have the opportunity. Nobody came up to do for me.
And now you found yourself.
But I heard people doing it now in this current time. So I should be able to do for somebody.
Now, your Ningin Hope Alive Foundation,
yes.
Yearly you give out stuff. What's the procedure? How do you identify who needs it and then who does not?
When we started having...
some people might just be wanting to.
Yes, when Daddy left office, we started Marvelous Friends Prayer Group Fellowship in my house. We meet every 2 weeks. So after some time, we said, 2 years, let's celebrate our anniversary. Because we meet 2 weeks, and every other month, we will invite people for outreach. We will cook for them, make lunch. We invite widows. Some of them are in Buhari, there's so many there. They will come over. We carry things to orphanage. We give them, in fact, even during my tenure with the HOMWA, Honorable Members' Wives, I told them, I introduced this outreach, going to less privileged homes. We go to this, what they call it, but it's a Catholic place, poorest of the poor, something. Yes, on the Gwagwalada Road. Then we go to Kwali. There's another place near Kuje, handicapped. 5 years we got these women, the widows, said before now we're giving you people money, clothes and food. We want to know, we interviewed them, those who could sew, we bought sewing machines for them.
That's good.
Those who could grind tomatoes and things, we bought grinding machines, big one, in the industrial ones for them, so that they will no longer be begging for food. They can use that one and help their family, the children that go to school and so on. And they were very happy about it, and that's how we continued. People were giving money, even though they may not give all what we wanted, all our plans, but whatever they give, we utilize completely on these people.
You gave me this book as soon as I walked in.
Yes.
I was thrilled. It says grace alone. I've been flipping through the pages and I see a lot of lovely pictures. I saw one picture where you were in the lorry and this. I'll show the whole of the picture. And I was laughing and I said, yeah, this is baby Lahore. So, and you started telling the story about the lorry. You said when you were in the lorry, what happened?
We didn't have air conditioners.
Air conditioners.
No.
Oh.
And I wasn't used to one.
Okay.
No. So eventually, the army issued Daddy with one AC. I said, you better put it in the parlor where you'll be sitting. Don't put it in the bedroom, because I don't know how I will react to it. Something
You were actually scared of AC?
Yes, because we never had it in my mom's place.
Did you guys hear that?
We didn't have fun. We didn't have.
You didn't have fun. You didn't have AC growing up.
No.
So now you're used to it.
No, I can't.
Did
Last
you have
night
television?
the last night they took light.
Okay.
Before the security man could put on the generator. Sleep left my eye because of heat.
Oh, okay.
The weather
Now
is
you're over used to it.
No, I'm just used to the sound.
Oh, the sound.
Yes, because I put on temperature 27 or 26. Some other people put on 18.
Yes, 18.
So you see, I'm not still used to it.
Were you used to television as well?
Did we see television? No, when it came, it was something that everybody gathered to come and see something new. As if something is it a dream or spirit? People
Inside the box.
Inside the box.
Oh.
It was something else. People used to describe you as somebody who has that thing that people talk from inside. I don't know what it was, but it was television. I hadn't traveled.
Interesting. Thank you so much. And I know that this is an autobiography of who you are. You want to share a bit of the story with us?
Well, I can tell you about it's growing up and my life during the Biafran War, and how I met my husband, and how I followed him to England when he was sent on a single officer's course. He was not supposed to carry any wife, but I insisted I have to go with him. You can't leave me alone. I was just expecting Tokumbo.
I salute you.
I was in London with him. Went to school there. He left me and came back, and I eventually came back. I had my daughter, and life continued.
Beautiful. It's indeed for me a delight to be with you. But you've been talking about Daddy and how growing up with him and living with him has been so sweet, and how you make him happy. And I also know that one of the things you do to make him happy is to feed him well. And I intend to go to the kitchen.
Oh my God!
Yes. So we're going to go to the kitchen and investigate the kind of food they have been eating, because between her and the corner himself, the honorable, there is no growing old, it's growing young. And she tells me is happiness, which is also part of the cooking. Let's go and see what the food looks like, and then I'll learn. You too will learn. Right? Wow. I know you're almost serious. So how did you cope cooking with just you and your one daughter? I thought you overworked her.
Yes.
You did. You're not even denying it.
No.
Oh my God.
She was the market woman. She goes to the market every day.
That's the same sleeve. I feel like they're Roman.
Yes.
That's good enough, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Until I taste it.
You know, when I learned to cook at a point, I want to buy kitchen scale. For everything I cook, I scale it.
Why?
But I don't think you're not using scale.
No, because we learned this.
You know?
We learned off scale. I started cutting on Gazi beef at age 10.
That's the part I come in.
Do you want it? It's very hard to play with the spoon.
The debate for or against orthodox or traditional medicine has for a long time remained a trendy one. But is there really a dichotomy between them? When should one embrace one in place of the other? Can there truly be a synergy between them for our good health? The thoughts are huge, but you can find expression and answers on Wednesday, 2nd February 2022 on our ever vocal yet focused platform, Conversations, as two renowned pharmacists and trado medical practitioners, Zainab Sharif and Sylvia Binder, speak extensively on it. Make it a date on Wednesday, 9 a.m. on NTA Network.
There's just something about speed and simplicity, but that speed and simplicity can be deceiving when you get behind the wheel. 30-year-old Emily sent this text message to her husband: "I love you and I'll try to make you happy." Moments later, Emily was killed when her car slammed into the back of a tractor trailer. 18-year-old Midi was also texting when his car slammed into the back of a truck at 80 miles per hour. His final text was,
"Driving and Facebooking is not safe. Ha ha."
You probably think that this thing can happen to you. You are not alone. 55% of young adult drivers say that it is easy to text and drive. 3/4 of the same young adults feel that they are really good texting behind the wheels. Reality is, they are all delusional. That quick look at your phone takes longer than you think. 5 seconds are really long. Imagine you're driving on the road and someone suddenly covers your face for 5 quick seconds, like this. You will probably feel very lucky if you didn't crash. But you chose to take your sight off the road just like that anytime you're sending or reading a text. Texting and driving is fast becoming the leading cause of teens' death on the road world over, surpassing even drinking and driving. But if you think dying in a car crash is the worst thing that happened to you, I tell you it is not. You can survive after you've killed someone else. Imagine spending the rest of your life knowing you killed someone just because of a text message. Now imagine going to jail just because of text message. Still think it will never happen to you? Still think you're the special one? There are so many that have been found guilty of texting while driving. But you can make a difference, just like so many young people have vowed not to text and drive. Leave your cell phone alone while driving. If you must send a text message, pull off the road into a parking lot or anywhere that is safe. No text is so important that it should cost your life or the life of someone else. You are not different. You are not special. You're just another accident waiting to happen if you do not desist from texting and driving. So, don't text and drive.
To do whatever it takes within the last lap of his administration towards bequeathing a united, peaceful and prosperous Nigeria to the next generation and administration. Speaking at a dinner in honor of the 2022 committee, the president also stated his commitment to leaving a legacy of strong, agriculture-led and diversified homegrown economy.
To defend the national interest. And the 2022 committee is put together to do just that, defend Nigeria at a time of crisis and at a time of transition.
Mr. President, this committee wants to take advantage of your consistent leadership, relentless passion and patriotism to figure out how to accelerate things and ensure that the transition is seamless.
This initiative you have taken is very good. I wish you had taken it much earlier.
The resources we had, if we had invested
mindset in agriculture, there wouldn't have been any need for fighting for oil.
The National Assembly says its instrument of oversight in the year 2022 fiscal year will be rigid on revenue generation by ministries, departments and agencies of government. President of the Senate, Ahmed Lawan, stated this at an interactive session between the Senate and heads of revenue-generating agencies.
Our government-owned enterprises can generate, in fact, I think, up to 3 trillion if we are and remain with that mindset that we can achieve that.
We need to come up with various forms of initiatives to broaden your sources of revenue and block as much as possible the perceived leakages.
The Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, has unveiled the first batch of beneficiaries of the 100 for 100 policy on production and productivity that targets 100 benefiting bankable projects every 100 days in the real sector. Governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria on the occasion also disclosed a new foreign exchange bidding regime to ease market pressure.
Is to make sure that we jumpstart our people from rearing cattle in the way of 1960 to in the way of 2020.
Instead of starch going out as waste now, we are going to gain more, slightly more. We want to create the jobs in here, do the manufacturing and reduce the raw materials that are imported here. So we are behind the program, the 100 for 100, and we will encourage it, especially with our productivity center. Our productivity center will get involved now and help the CBN.
We are committed to it because we think that it is only one way through which we can truly grow this economy. It is only one way through which we can create jobs for our people.
And that was an update of the news. Another one will be at 1, and News Desk is at 3. Join us soon.
Hello and welcome to Insights, everyone. I'm Namdi Odipo.
And I'm Elizabeth Omori. Thank you so much for joining us on the program.
On this episode, I will be discussing the 50 billion naira export expansion facility program implemented by the Nigerian Export Promotion Council and how that has impacted positively on businesses and the economy. I have a beneficiary with experience on hand to discuss how the benefits of exports but more importantly, how to minimize export risks and ensure that exported goods conform to importing countries' specifications. Elizabeth?
Well, like we all know, the elections are drawing closer. We will be examining the role of youth in election governance and participation.
Very well then, let's begin the conversation. Well, I did say my first discussion will be somewhat of a guide to small businesses wishing to export their products overseas. It might be challenging at first, but I tell you, it can be very rewarding for small businesses, small and medium businesses, I dare say. You'd also be amazed at the level of craving for Nigerian-made products abroad. Interestingly, not only by Nigerians, and how much some of these products go for. In kicking off this conversation, I'd like to reiterate that it was in realization of all or some of these that the federal government, through the Nigerian Export Promotion Council, launched the Export Expansion Facility Program and Export Development Fund meant to drive non-oil export businesses. Ndoka Ude is the CEO, MD and CEO, Export and Sell, and he joins me to review the impact of this initiative and how product exports can change the face of small and medium enterprises. Welcome to Insight.
Thank you very much.
We'll get to the Export Expansion Facility Program presently, but let's begin with the basics in terms of product export.
Yes.
So export is typically a sales and revenue generation strategy. But then what do you mean when you say there is the need to know what to do?
Sure.
How and when exactly to do them when it comes to the export business, especially within the context of made in Nigerian products?
Sure.
Is there a difference between just putting your goods on a plane,
yes,
you know, and having someone ship it? Like you would say, I've read up a bit about you,
yes,
and I know it's a popular saying that, I mean, one of your popular sayings, and doing the right thing. I guess my question is, which is the proper way to export?
So if you look at the problem Nigeria is facing now, a lot of our products, from what I hear, talking to people, agencies like NAFDAC and co, is being rejected abroad. You know, and the reason is simple. You know, you have a lot of people who think export is just about putting goods on a plane, like you just said. And it takes more than that, you know. The first thing you need to know is that any country you are sending goods to, they have regulations that guide how things should be when they are coming in, because they are trying to protect their citizens, especially when it comes to food or cosmetics, anything that the body, you know, has to take, you know. And then when you even talk about other materials, other things, you know, building materials, they don't want to use materials from a country that the building will collapse after a while. So they are definite standard, and that is one of the areas Nigeria is lacking. Proper training of our small, medium, and large businesses on the rules and regulations that is needed by countries that you are exporting your product to. And that is one of the key things we strive to do at Export and Sell: show businesses the regulations, help them to get the licenses, so that when they export their product, there's 100% certainty that they will not have any issues whatsoever. So to sum it, export is not just about putting your products on a plane. You have to look at the regulations, make sure you are doing things right.
Okay, so knowing what we know now, I mean, not just your company, because that's not our key focus, but of course there are other players as well in the industry, you know, but knowing what we know and how some players like yourself have keyed into the federal government Exports Expansion Facility Program, would I be correct in saying that the initiative, and I'm talking about EEFP now, was expansive in nature, combining availability of funds to prospective non-oil businesses here in Nigeria, alongside assisting new and existing businesses in growing technical and practical knowledge on the proper way to export their products?
I think, yes, I'll say yes to your question. The EFP has played a very huge role in helping businesses of all size, you know, get into the export business. You know, for example, you know, one of the key things that they have done that makes the scheme really fascinating is that they were able to identify key players in export, not just individual companies that help to export, but companies that have the ability to open up the way for 100, 500, thousands of companies to export, you know. And again, like you say, yeah, not just my company, yes, but what we do, for example, we help show you how to export. So that opens up an opportunity, not just for my company, but for thousands of companies to export. And that is one of the key things the EEFP grant, of which we are a proud recipient, has enabled us to do.
As a beneficiary, tell me how it's assessed. I mean, in terms of assessing the loan now, Tell me how all of that play out, basically.
So, you know, we export and sell. We started by
not just export and sell.
Yes,
now, I would like for you to generalize and tell me.
Yes,
but of course, using your own example.
I will use my own example because I know how I access the fund, and I believe it's the same way that other people
for others as well. Yes.
We have been working, training, and NEPC, you know, we've engaged them. They've invited me to train businesses here and there. And from nowhere, I did not even know about the scheme. You know, one of the facilitators of the scheme called and said they've heard about what we do, that they have a facility for businesses like ours. We should apply. I applied. Within 2 weeks, I got a call. I sat down for an interview. It was an intense interview. And that gave me the assurance that these people were really interested.
Was that done by the Export Promotion Council?
It was done by the staffs of the EEFP.
Okay.
After the interview, they said, well, we don't know if you qualify, that they have other companies that they are vetting. And if you meet their criteria, they will obviously give you the grant. And about 3 weeks later, we were told we got the grant. They're only going to give us 50% of what we asked for. After we have shown judicious use of the 50%, before they can consider giving the other 50. And within 2-3 months, we showed judicious use. We were able to open up the first Amazon export warehouse where companies wanting to export to Amazon can come, drop off their goods. We do a lot to get it ready, prepared for export and sell on Amazon. And then once they saw that, they came for the commissioning. They now approved the other 50. And that other 50 has enabled us to set up a dedicated training facility for medium and large businesses on export. So it's been easy and amazing.
I'm quite sure, or I don't know, same process would apply for small businesses as well.
It is. So let me give you an example. After we got the grant, I spoke to another business that had come through our training. And I told her, she's a manufacturer of fashion products, go and apply for this grant. She applied, and by December, sometime in December last year, she called me to tell me, wow, that she also got the grant. You know, so it is some, you know, anything business, normally Nigerians are skeptical because of all the bureaucracy. But I was really impressed with the way this fund was administered, as far as from my experience and the experience of so many other businesses I know got it.
You know, incidentally, the 50 billion naira EEFP is a subset of the Economic Sustainability Plan, which is investing hugely in businesses as part of the National COVID-19 Economic Recovery Plan. Wasn't the EEFP launched for a period of 1 year? And in terms of response,
yes,
what have you been able to garner, or what does it say of the potential of small and medium businesses in Nigeria embracing exports?
I think having such a scheme and saying it's going to last for only a year is like a joke to me. You don't set up...
maybe government is just on a trial basis.
Well,
not necessarily...
to me, it's a joke, because you don't set up such a scheme and say it will last only a year. This is a scheme that is impacting export. It should be a scheme that ought to be sustained. And I say this seriously because... you know, 2021, without the grant, we were able to train about 1,000 businesses. In 2022, with the grant, we are looking at training about 10,000 businesses. And this is what the grant has been able to do. So you need something like that to be continuous, because it's going to have a major impact. Let me give an example. Please. When you take the nut, for example, the nut, you have products like neem, you know, the dogon yarrow. You have products like the hibiscus zobo. These are things that you see lying fallow everywhere in the north. A company, I can name 3-4 companies, because we have analysis of sales on Amazon, that are doing about $1 million every month selling zobo. We have companies that are doing about $500,000
selling zobo abroad.
Selling, you know, so when I say zobo, I mean the hibiscus tea. That is what these companies are doing.
Get what you mean.
But these are products that are just lying waste, lying fallow in the north. So you need this scheme to continue to enhance small businesses that can tap into this type of products and this type of opportunity. That is what we need. Take a look at Ghana. You know, you have so many products that are on Amazon now selling in Ghana. You have companies who are doing over $700,000 monthly, selling things as simple as African black soap. You know, the potentials are there and it crosses the whole country. This scheme really needs to be extended so that we can tap more into this potential. It really needs to.
In terms of response, because you're quite excited about, of course, no, I mean, it's quite obvious that you're excited about the scheme and how much so it has impacted.
Sure.
But then in terms of response and gauging the level and strata of businesses that have, you know, assessed the fund for loans, would you say, if in the event, of course, that the scheme is extended or sustained, what do you foresee? What do you envision?
If we as a company can go from 1,000 to training 10,000 companies to sell on Amazon within a year because of this fund, you have hundreds or thousands of other companies that benefited from the fund. So you can see what it can do. You know, this is an investment that is critical, that will lead to creating jobs. You know, and you see, when we talk about the ability of what this can do, it's not just us that has benefited. You have manufacturers, you have shippers, you have when I was discussing with one of the coordinators, they told me they've been able to set up export warehouses outside of Nigeria where Nigerian businesses can leverage and use as a warehouse for their goods that they are exporting. This is the first time in the history of Nigeria, in our seriousness with export, that such a thing has happened. So one of the key things you need to do is, look, you don't throw 50 billion at people and you don't monitor it. There has to be a sustainability of the scheme so that, one, they are able to monitor it. And those companies they see that are performing well, they give them more so that they can even do better. That is what we need to grow our non-oil export. You know, it must be sustained.
Very, very true. I cannot but agree with you. And I noticed how much you've mentioned Amazon.
Yes.
Of course, there are other international markets out there. And of course, the business analysts would agree that exporting products has a huge ripple multiplying effect across the economy.
Sure.
I know that as a crucial part of any company's growth strategy, not only does it boost their revenue, it creates job. It extends the life cycle of products. But you would also agree with me that we need to adequately address other major setbacks of Nigeria exports penetration of international markets in order to assess the market and capitalize on a market like Amazon that you've just mentioned. And we talked about it earlier before we came on air, and we valued Amazon's annual sales at about $400 billion. That's a massive market for the Zobo seller, for the for Nigerian small businesses to take advantage of.
Yes. So again, what we're talking about is not just for small businesses. A company that can do $1 million a month is a big business. They are not small business.
Get into the business.
So there is a lot to do. But to really talk about your question, which
about the major
I believe is about the setbacks.
Yes.
It's just like they say, water is necessary to make soup, but it's not sufficient. You need other things, or maybe I should use a different example. A car runs on 4 wheels. By the time you remove one wheel, the car cannot move. NEPC and the EEFP grant is one of the wheels. The other wheels are agencies like NAFDAC. You have agencies like SON, agencies like the Nigerian Customs Service. These agencies need to come together, sit down together, and see where their efforts are being duplicated and what needs to be done to simplify the process. And again, when you look at the challenges, let me give an example. In all our training of companies, one of the biggest challenges we have heard from them, and I'm being frank, is the issue of getting their export number and all those things from NAFDAC. These things need to be simplified. Companies are complaining of spending months to get it, But the issue with export really is not just the inefficiencies that you have in some of these agencies. The issue lies down to even the act, the enabling act, the laws that set up some of these agencies. A lot of those laws are against export. Let me give an example. If I'm exporting, say, shea butter to the US,
that's what we call ori.
Okay, all right. I don't know what it's called, but good. Shea butter is another business that you see close to $5 million in sales on a monthly basis on Amazon because it's used for so many things, honey and a lot of things. Now, if I'm exporting shea butter outside the US, to the US or anywhere, NAFDAC regulations states that you cannot put what the product can do for you on the packaging. There's a lot of restriction, but you have such products coming from Ghana and other countries where they tell you this can beautify your skin, remove wrinkles and all those things. So when you have that Nigerian product in the international market, you have the one from Nigeria, NAFDAC, where they say don't put anything, don't make any claim, and you have the one from Ghana where it shows all the things you can do. Which one do you think the international buyer is going to pick? So getting export to work, we need to take a deep down look at the regulations that form some of these agencies. You have a duplication of effort between SON and NAFDAC in a lot of areas. You have a manufactured product, after you've gotten your NAFDAC certification, you try to export it. Those in SON will say you have not gone through their regulation. They'll give you a 30-page document that you have to meet their regulation. So these difficulties are the things that are making small businesses not to want to go into export, and we need to seriously look at it. NEPC have done their part. They are one tire in that car, but the other 3 tires are even more important. So we need to fix it.
Let's try and maybe not ask you to fix it here on set.
Yes,
but ask you to tie up the loose ends and make projections going forward. Now, how do we step up issues like quality control? You've raised that.
Yes.
So how do we step up quality control checks at our end? And that's one part of it. And insist on unique packaging.
Sure.
In order to meet standards that permits them to be listed, our products now, to be listed on this market.
The number one thing that you need to do when we're talking of all this quality control and rejection of Nigerian products is training. If you look, they keep saying, I keep hearing this all the time, that government needs to do something about the quality of Nigeria. That is not the job of government. Government is to put regulations that are easy for companies to implement. Now, companies like us and the NEPC now set up training so that the companies that want to export know the regulations, they know what to put on their packages, they know the licenses to get. That is the job of the individual, the private sector to do. So with the right, let me give an example. When we started, we had people who were sending products to the US that we could not list on Amazon. So because of that, we now had to stop the whole process, and then anybody coming in to our platform has to first go through our training. When we started that training, we now set up systems and teams that are able to review those products, make sure they meet quality before they are exported. So that training, and again, we need to differentiate between practical-based training and training by theoreticians. There are so many people who go out there on Instagram, say they are training you how to export, but they've never done it. There's a difference between dealing with a trainer who does this on a daily basis and one who is just doing it to make money. Okay. So that training is the key.
Okay, so there's something I'll need your expertise on, as far as the export business is, and I would like to have your view on the differential in potential exports and actual exports, and how one deviates from the other. In some sense, it is possible for actual exports to be higher or lower than the expected potential value. How do you plan these things to ensure that you get market value?
So let me give you an example. I like to use practical.
Which is fine by
practical.
me. Yes.
70% of the processed foods in African stores all over the US are coming from Ghana and other countries. And again, this lies with the difficulty of getting our products, all the requirements we need to export. 70% is coming from Ghana, but 80% of the buyers are Nigerians. So what does that tell you? It tells you that Nigerians abroad, which make up US alone, we have about 3 million Nigerians in the US. They are feeding the Ghanaian economy instead of feeding the Nigerian economy. You know, I have run analysis. When you look at countries like Uganda, you look at Ghana, you look at their output versus their population, you see that Nigeria has the potential of generating about $500 million a month extra in food and cosmetic exports. I'm not joking. 500 million, that's about $6 billion a year, that we have the potential, if we fix the 3 other tires that I've talked about, the other agencies that are making export difficult, we can add $6 billion extra to the national
remittances.
Yes.
I mean, this is apparently a conversation that we just might need part 2 for, because we're already out of time, unfortunately, sure. And this is where we'll draw the curtain on our conversation. But of course, like I just made allusions to, I think we'll try to create another avenue to have you come back on set, and
definitely,
and we
so
can
will
have
be a pleasure.
Yes, we can have a conclusion to this discourse. Nduka Ude, Managing Director and CEO, Export and Sell. It's been a delight having you on Insight.
Thank you so much.
It will be nice to have you back here. Thank you so much for coming on the program.
Thank you.
Moving on now, I somehow feel the need to reiterate Nigeria's ongoing campaign against insurgency and terrorism, of course, and how the military is using a multifaceted strategy to wage this war. In a previous episode, I spoke with a security risk management specialist, Dr. Kabir Adamu, specifically on the non-kinetic approach employed by the Nigerian military towards resolving these security threats. For the sake of emphasis, I would like to recall that conversation. I get that top on the agenda for the Nigerian military is to win the war against insurgency. But in doing so, I mean, part of the objectives include ensuring economic, social, and political stability in affected regions. How does the non-kinetic measure help in achieving these broad objectives?
Recently, a top government official, either the president or one of the army chiefs, did say that even though Nigeria has won the war in the Northeast, it is yet to win the peace. Now, the only way to win the peace is through these non-kinetic measures. There is a single factor that determines success in counter-insurgency operations. Let's remember that insurgency operations, the asymmetric warfare that we could talk about, is very different from the conventional warfare, where the two enemies they're identified and they are fighting each other. Each has its location and they meet somewhere and fight. In this instance, the enemy is living within you. He's using your resources. He's using those that you are trying to protect to attack you. So non-kinetic measures help in a long way in reducing the influence of the bad guys. Now they use influence to allow them to continue to operate. They need funding, they need to recruit new members, they need weaponry. They use the local support, the cleavages, the gaps that exist within communities to get these threats. Now, non-kinetic measures will take away that support from them. And by taking away that support, the possibility of suffocating them and denying them the ability to exist becomes really, really easier. So these measures, what in Nigeria we call countering violent extremism, are instrumental to ending any warfare. Now, what that sounds like a little bit strange to me is the attempt that this is new. The military, especially the current crop of leadership, have put forward this non-kinetic component. However, we know that within Nigeria's counter-terrorism strategy, there has always been the non-kinetic component encapsulated under the countering violent extremism framework. Perhaps in the course of the conversation, we can talk about this.
We'll throw some of these measures open. But then, framework. I mean, I understand non-kinetic targeting involves a range of measures. It could include all actually includes finding, tracking, and monitoring key actors, psychological operations, information operations, rehabilitation and reintegration, and institutional building. My question, however, is based on the covert nature of terrorist groups and insurgents. You made allusions to in asymmetric warfare, the actors not being known. It is often difficult to understand the entire structure of these groups. How then do you identify the right actors for non-kinetic targeting?
So that is where the whole of government comes in. There are 27 ministries, departments, and agencies that are involved in security, either policy making, policy implementation, including law enforcement, or some other aspects, including intelligence gathering. So to respond to your question directly, intelligence gathering is one of the key components of any security operation, including counter-terrorism. So there are in the list about 5 or 6 government departments that have the mandate to collect and analyze intelligence. Now, it is these agencies that would make available the intelligence to the other departments, including the military. And these organizations will now target and make sure that the terrorist members and their operatives are identified, and to a greater extent, even after they are identified, they are arrested. The counter-terrorism strategy has 5 frameworks, and included in that 5 frameworks is the identification of terrorist groups and their supporters, as well as their funding basis. So that has been covered quite adequately in the National Counter-Terrorism Strategy. And of course, the non-kinetic component is also encapsulated inside that National Counter-Terrorism Strategy. The challenge, however, has been the implementation of that strategy, unfortunately.
Let's throw up the issue or look specifically at cyber-based disruptions, exploitations, and cyber-driven disinformation often used by insurgents. I have 2 questions for you, Dr. Adamu, on this issue. One, what have we learned from how groups like Boko Haram, ISWAP, and the others use and deploy cyber tradecraft? Secondly, is there a nexus in the counterinsurgency manual in deploying non-kinetic measures and cyber disinformation by terrorist groups?
Let me start with your first question. What have we learned? We know that these groups have adopted the use of the cyberspace for their warfare, as it were. They use it for propaganda, they use it to recruit, they use it to also train their operatives on techniques, tactics, and procedures, TTP. So, a would-be terrorist who is not able to communicate adequately with his cell's commander is able to go online, for instance, and learn how to make bombs, as an example. He's also able to learn tactics on how to raid a forward operating base based on the information that he can gather online. Motivation as well. They release motivational propaganda videos showing that they have attacked and dominated or taken over a military base. It may seem to the average user that this is just a video. No, it's more than a video. It's actually encouraging others and strengthening their ideological underpinnings. So we know that they do use these mediums. Almost all of them, if you speak of the 2 major groups, the Jamaat al-Ahli al-Dawal al-Jihad, they have online presence, they have dedicated platforms that propagate their developments around them. For the Islamic State in West Africa province, it has proven to be more savvy in the use of the cyberspace. It has a dedicated online publication It has a dedicated platform that reports on its developments, on its issues. And over time, it has proven that the use of those platforms have been effective in terms of propagating its ideas and ideology. Now, to the second part of your question, government did launch a national
revised cyber security policy, yes.
Policy last, I think it was in 2020, if I remember well. The challenge again has been the implementation of that policy. That policy recognizes the vulnerabilities that exist within the cyberspace and how that vulnerability can be used by groups such as the terrorist groups that we have in the country and their supporters. And I put forward certain measures to reduce and prevent the use of cyberspace for those purposes. Unfortunately, we haven't seen the implementation of that.
Dr. Adamu, I would like your view on something equally important, and that's the federal government Defector program, of course administered by the military for repentant low-risk male combatants known as Operation Safe Corridor. And there's also the rehabilitation program for low-risk women such as those married to Boko Haram fighters. Some persons have argued that these programs are a recognition that the counterinsurgency campaigns have struggled for a prolonged period and continues to conflate perpetrators with victims.
Exactly. That narrative has been out there, even though I see it as a defective narrative. If you look at the two sides, government, the Buhari administration, created the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management, and I remember the third component of that ministry. The mandate of that ministry is to take care of victims of all the various conflicts in the country. Today, that ministry is seen as the super ministry in the country. It has one of the largest budgetary provisions. Subsumed under it is the National Social Investment Program that has developed a register for indigent persons in the country, and that register is being used to provide for them. So most people who put forward the narrative that government is taking care of the perpetrators and not the victims forget this. CBN has different components of social investment that it has rolled out before COVID-19 and then even after COVID-19 started. I can name several other ministries that are meant to cater for victims. The Refugee Commission is one of them. Name them. They all have a mandate to cater to victims of conflicts in the country and other disasters. Now, if they are not doing their work properly, that's a different thing. We can discuss that. However, it would be very unfair and, for lack of a better word, unethical for the narrative that no, government is not looking out for the victims, rather it's looking out for the perpetrators. As an expert in counterterrorism, I know the role of CVE, especially the radicalization component. It helps. It reduces the rank of the terrorist groups. It helps give you the information you need to counter the information. It helps in peace building. All of these are positives. However, I do have my worry regarding how the Operation Safe Corridor is being implemented. If I understood its initial concept note, it wasn't meant to be a military run affair. It was meant to be a civilian-led affair, of course, with the participation of the military. Don't forget that I said...
like we had in the case of the Niger Delta Amnesty Program, that was a demobilization and reintegration program.
Exactly. But in this instance, those who authored that program had in mind a whole of government approach. If I remember well, there should have been 18 different ministries, departments, and agencies of government involved in Operation Safe Corridor.
Dr. Adamu, isn't there a United Nations model for demobilization and reintegration of ex-armed militants, I want to say?
There is actually there is DDR, demobilization.
Yes, there's the DDR.
disarmament and reintegration.
Yes.
I think sometimes it has a fourth component. But this is different actually from DDR. What we have is subsumed under the CVE countering violent extremism approach that I mentioned.
Yes.
And I know that when Dr. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala was the Minister of, I think, Foreign Affairs under President Goodluck Jonathan, she took that document to the United Nations. In fact, the General Assembly of 2013 or 2014, and that document was endorsed by the United Nations, the CVE that Nigeria is currently implementing. It was endorsed by the UN, and I know that Operation Safe Corridor had received funding from across the world, including several EU member states, including the US, and several other development partners across the world. So it's not that Nigeria is doing it on its own. It has the support of international non-governmental and governmental organizations. Again, the challenge has been the overwhelming influence of the military in the implementation of Operation Safe Corridor.
Dr. Adamu, if I recall correctly, when you started with my last question, you wanted to reference the Humanitarian Affairs Ministry, its Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management, and Social Development. But then let me take you up on something. I mean, it's a military strategy that I came upon, at least it's there in the academia. It is called the Hybrid Doctrine. It is supposedly a counterinsurgency and counterterrorism manual, and it has at its core the 4D concept. It's degrade, depower, define, and detox. Is this a combination of kinetic and non-kinetic, of the kinetic and non-kinetic approaches used by the military in warfare?
In simple terms, it is what in Nigeria we have put together to form our national counterterrorism strategy. It's a combination of kinetic and non-kinetic. If you pick that strategy, it talks about these four concepts. It talks about the need to block, to identify, to block, to develop, to prosecute. And this again, it's a combination of both the kinetic and non-kinetic. So we've got amazing policies. We've got amazing strategies. The issue is in the implementation, unfortunately.
Let me veer away slightly and look at this issue at the sub-regional level. I'm sure you're aware that since the inauguration of a regional multinational task force with considerable support from international security actors in January 2015, attacks in Nigeria's neighboring countries have increased remarkably. Let me therefore take you up on viable courses of action that can be taken in support of regional stability.
So are you referring to the multinational joint task force that has its headquarters
in spite of its presence, we're recording incidents of attacks across, especially across the Sahel.
So, I mean, the multinational joint task force was created, if I remember well, in 2013. President Goodluck Jonathan and the French president were behind the creation of the multinational joint task force, and owing to support of the regional partners, Nigeria, Chad, Niger, Benin Republic, and to an extent Cameroon, that phenomenal movement was created. Now Nigeria has been credited with taking the burden really of that movement. But then somewhere along the line, and I unfortunately I don't have the answers to this, another regional arrangement called the G5 group of 5 Sahel countries was created with its headquarters in troubled Mali. 3 of the countries, three or 2 of the countries that are members of this multinational joint task force were also members of this G5. Now both creations, the multinational joint task force, MHGTF, and G5 have funding challenges. Now, apart from the funding challenges, there are also traditional rivalries and distrust that has prevented the activities of these multinational forces. In the case of the MNJTF, the rivalry and the distrust between Nigeria and these French former colonies has reduced their ability to implement the right of pursuit, where each country can come into its neighboring country up to at least about 50 kilometers. In fact, the immediate past chief of Army Staff in a public interview said that under his watch, there is no way he would allow, he mentioned one of the countries to come into Nigeria. So that's the kind of distrust and lack of cooperation that has affected the implementation of the ideals of the multinational joint task force. But having said that, there are still levels of cooperation.
Okay.
We've seen where these levels of cooperation. Go ahead.
Finally, before I let you go, Doc, give me very quickly in a bullet point format what should be done or improved upon to effectively and proactively tackle terrorism and insurgency in Nigeria. Very
quickly, we need to do a review of our implementation of the National Counterterrorism Strategy. Like we've agreed in our discussion, that strategy is good. It contains what we need, the hybrid doctrine
so
that
that's
you mentioned.
One. So the bullet point format.
Review Number two, ensure especially the National Assembly carries out its oversight functions on the 27 ministries, departments, and agencies that are involved in the implementation of that document. And then finally, we need the support of the generality of Nigerians to own the National Counterterrorism Strategy.
Thank you so much, Dr. Kabir Adamu, Security Risk Management Expert, and also Managing Director of Beacon Consulting Limited. I would like to thank you so much for your insight on this matter. It's a pleasure having you here on Insight. And that is it for my segment on this episode. Elizabeth Omori will take it from here.
The African Youth Charter recognizes young people. The African Youth Charter recognizes young people as individuals within the age range of 15 to 35. They are indeed the future of the country and represent it at every level. The intelligence and work of the youth will take the country on the path of success. As they are the building blocks of a country, youth around the world are faced with myriad of problems in creating and utilizing opportunities for representation to decision-making bodies. The involvement of youth in governance leads to civic engagement. Active and engaged young people can be a source of government innovation and improved service for development. How can the Nigerian youth leverage on the opportunities by the government to make a desired change? My guest, Godwin Ozo, Chief Executive Officer, Advocacy for Youth Empowerment and Emancipation, will answer this and other questions on the program. Mr. Godwin, thank you so much for joining us on Insight.
Thank you.
All right, what is the position on youth inclusion in governance?
Youth inclusion in governance is a good thing. The United Nations encourages youth to participate in the process that will help better their lots in governance and in other things that has to do with their welfare. Because the UN itself has set up 2030 as sustainable development goals, and youths have to participate in order to benefit from this program. The Nigerian government has also set up its own program where the youths need to participate in order to be able to benefit from other government programs by bringing their own ideas, their own initiatives, and participating as well, so that everything will work for the better of the youth and for the society.
All right, several social groups have always called for inclusion of the youth in governance, but how can the youth leverage on opportunities to take them or to make them politically inclined for leadership?
Without participating, the government will have programs and youths will not know how to take advantage of those programs. As well, the government will need to know what are the hopes and aspirations of the youths in order to roll out programs that will benefit them. And as it says that the person that wears the shoes know how it pinches. If the youths are participating, they should be bringing out where their pains are, where it's hitting them. Is it in education? Is it in unemployment? Is it in enabling environment for lives and businesses to thrive? And many other things, insecurity, and the main business of government, which is to make sure that people have lives and enabling environment for an atmosphere for businesses and lives to thrive. So participation is key. It's key. If you are not participating, you'll be in the fence and be complaining. They are making it clear to youths that they should strive to be self-reliant. They should strive to have their to discover their skills, their talents, and develop them. Because when you sit at home, you don't make yourself, you don't develop your skills, you don't develop your talents, you don't make yourself self-reliant, there's no way you are going to participate actively in governance. Because as we know, life is centered on the principles of invisible hands. You must belong in a particular human endeavor, contribute your own quota, and by so doing, you are not going to, be left behind in the mainstream of things. Once you have something to offer, as I said, think of what you can do for your country and not what you can do, what your country can always do for you. So when you have that idea that you must do something for your country, by then you are contributing to the Commonwealth. And as such, if everybody is doing that, most especially the youth, then we will have a better society. Then there will not be a kind of a meeting point between the government program and what one is contributing to the economy. And is so doing, nobody will complain again.
If I check you on your center, activities at your center, how do we build the confidence of the Nigerian youth?
The confidence could be built, and the benefits therein reaped if we actually believe in ourselves and take advantage of opportunities that abound everywhere, both from the local point of view, your locality where you are coming from. Everybody believes in Abuja, 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 Abuja. Abuja is just the center. We need to take steps. Now, in your locality, you have a councillor there. You have a local government chairman. You have your reps. You have the Senate, in your precinct. Before, and you also have your governor. There are many opportunities within those areas, and you, as a youth, need to key in these opportunities. You don't always need to believe that you must come to Abuja to make it, or you must believe in handouts coming from government. So you have to start from somewhere. Participate. Look, your councillor can actually, do a small program where youths can come in. If those ones who are interested in becoming a musician or footballer or something like that, a councillor can create an avenue. Somebody who has learned how to repair a phone, it doesn't have the tools to repair that phone. A councillor can actually buy, it doesn't cost more to buy a tool to repair a phone. Then you can look at those people that have these skills, empower them, give them the tools, not buying cutlass or buying wheelbarrow to somebody who wants to repair a phone. You can buy the tools for someone who wants to buy repair a phone, and the person repair 1 or 2 or 3 phones, can from there hit the market and become self-made. Everybody must be engaged. Everybody must be participate. It's from this local economy that we can build the central economy, and the Nigerian economy will become a very good and vibrant economy, because the people are the real wealth of the nations.
Of course. Now, in building a vibrant economy, the youth must be empowered. The empowerment is very, very important. Get-rich-quick syndrome must be eliminated. How do we correct this anomaly amongst our youth?
Revitalizing our value system.
Okay.
There are many things that government could do, that leaders could do, that our parents could do. and things could be put right. Really, is not the right thing. Government, as a regulator, need to see to it that people who have talent, people who have done work, that their work need to pay and they need to reap the dividends of the good work they've done. This, in essence, will now
Please stay tuned.
Father, we thank you for making us the brightness of this new day. Thank you for assembling us here this morning to honor the invitation of our dear governor. Heavenly Father, we ask will be under your superintendence and supervision. Thank you, Abba Father, grant us peace as we deliberate, so that at the end of it, honor, glory, and adoration will be ascribed to your holy name. This we ask in Jesus' name.
Welcome to NTA Network Service. We are here live at the Banquet Hall, Government House, Port Harcourt, the venue for the interactive session between the Governor of Rivers State and PDP stakeholders in the state. On behalf of the outside broadcast crew, my name is Kingsley Amajre. Welcome.
GSSRS, former Governor of Rivers State, the Right Honorable Kwi Owajibani, DSSRS, Speaker, Rivers State House of Assembly. Ambassador Desmond Akawo, Chairman, People's Democratic Party, Rivers State. Chief Fedi Alabarbara, Chairman, PDP States Council, Rivers State. Distinguished senators and members of the National Assembly. The Right Honorable Chibudom Uche, OFR, former Deputy Speaker, House of Representatives. The Deputy Speaker, Principal Officers, and members of the Rivers State House of Assembly. Secretary to the State Governments and members of the State Executive Council. Party elders and party leaders here present, special advisors, other political appointees, ladies and gentlemen. Your Excellency, this is a stakeholders meeting called at your instance. May I respectfully hand over to you.
This meeting holding at the Banquet Hall, Government House, Port Harcourt, has stakeholders drawn from the 23 local government area of Rivers State in attendance. It is to be a platform for engagement between the governor and the PDP leaders in the state.
Your Excellency, the Deputy Governor, Your Excellency, the former Governor of the state, distinguished senators here present, Your Excellency, the Right Honorable, the Speaker of the State House of Assembly, the former Deputy Speaker, House of Representatives, Chairman of the Elders Council of our party, former Minister of Transportation, our dear Leaders Council Chairman, Chairman of our great party, members of the State House of Assembly, Council Chairman and Party Chairman, gentlemen of the press, ladies and gentlemen. Let me first of all appreciate and thank each and every one of you who had attended this meeting in spite of the short notice. Let me also commend the various council chairmen for their efforts in supporting the state and fighting against illegal oil bunkering in the state that has so much polluted our environment, which of course has its own health effect. I'm sure that our people will appreciate that most council chairmen are living up to their responsibility in supporting the state. So we believe that everybody should, as a matter of concern, continue to give them support. It is not a fight against any ethnic group. It's a fight against crime. It's a fight against the sabotage of the national economy. It's a fight against inflicting health injuries on all of us. And so every right-thinking person who lives in Rivers State, who is from Rivers State, will not hesitate but to support the fight against this illegal oil bunkering. The fight has started. It will not end until we completely win the war. Yes, we are winning, but we have not completely won. I know that some of us here too are having some tacit support for them. But like I've always said, I pray to God that it should not be identified. If you're identified, it doesn't matter how big or what office you occupy, will make you to face the wrath of the law. But that is not why I called for this meeting. I called for this meeting sometimes ago, about 2-3 weeks ago, if I can remember vividly well. I listened to some radio programs. If I remember well, I think Radio FM, something like that. So where they were asking the state government, querying the state government to give account of some of the property or assets that belong to the state government. So I felt that it was necessary to allay the fears of people who went to radio, which is natural if you think that something is wrong. As a citizen of the state, you have every right to question, and you have every right to get back reply. They were emphatic on 3 major assets of the state. One is the Rivers State government-owned helicopter, which was bought by the government of Sir Dr. Peter Odili. Also, they asked about the legacy jets owned by Rivers State government bought during the period of Dr. Peter Odili. And they also asked the Dash 8, which was a propeller plane bought under the administration of Dr. Peter Odili. And they also asked about our gas turbine. Where did we keep the gas turbine purchased by the administration of Sir Dr. Peter Odili? After I made some consultations with some people, we felt, well, that the need to alert and tell our people the simple truth. You know, these days, social media can carry all kinds of junk without even knowing the facts, without even having the facts to tell the public. I just read from some of these social media a reply made by one George Tolofari, who said, was the former Commissioner of Transport, and that I told issues of lives, issues of lives, and people should know I'm very vindictive, and this and that. Ordinarily, I would not have replied that kind of statement, but why it is important before I go to the main thing is what you don't know. You should not allow yourself to be used to be made a mockery. It shows how unintelligent you are. It shows how, if you have a certificate, the school that issued you that certificate should re-examine whether actually you are qualified to be issued that certificate. I know Tolofare very well. I know his capacity. If it is to defend Vikings confraternity, then I can tell you, yes, he has the capacity to defend Vikings confraternity. But any other thing, he does not have that capacity as far as governance is concerned. To tell you, if I was vindictive, he would have been in prison by now. If I was vindictive, he would have been in prison. But for my relationship with my family, I tried to see how I would put things not a way to embarrass the family. When my former Attorney General, Chiwaguma, was alive, you know, we had the judicial panel of inquiry, Uberechi, who, of course, indicted Tolofare very well. Not only that, under Dr. Peter Dele's administration, he was given the job of building the jetty of Bonny Bile that takes people from his own area to Bonny. He ate that money, 90 million naira as at then. So if I was vindictive, I would have put him in prison. I don't know how politicians, public officers who serve in government, a government will mean well for you, how your people can benefit from infrastructure to help your people. A jetty that you know that will convey people to your body local government. He took the money. And then he had the temerity to say, we are vindictive. But let me leave it at that. He said he submitted a handover note. All of us are aware when I came in on 29th of May 2015, I had not even police. They refused to give me police van for patrol for my swearing in. They denied me police van, the patrol van that you normally use for such ceremonial occasions. I was denied. I didn't have it. It was the governor of Ondo State then, Dr. Olusegun Mimiko, who had to send their own down here for me to use for the swearing in. All of us are aware that there was no handover to this government. Not one handover. And it's unfortunate, I read from one Adegun, who said he used to be chief secretary outside the state. And because he became, from what I hear, Rwama sole administrator. In fact, he was even the deputy chief of staff to the former governor of the state. I read when he said that former Attorney General and former Chief of Staff told lies about the plane, the legacy 600 jet that was parked in Ruag, Munich, in Germany. I thought I thought he had some intelligence. I didn't know it was empty. It was empty. I never knew. He said in that text that 10 days to the expiration of their government, that the governor then, Amechi, told them to write hand over.
The stakeholders meeting is a platform where the governor of Rivers State is addressing some of the key issues that have been bothering the minds of some stakeholders in the state.
When Buhari came in 2015, Jonathan handed over documents pertaining how this country was, financial statements, what we have left, what we have done, see where we have stopped, handed over to President Buhari that day, 29th of May, 2015. That is what they call a handover. So that the government hasn't come. We study that handover and then now know where to begin from. In this state, there was no transition committee. Rather, what they were doing, even after election, was to go from one court to the other to stop our inauguration in May 29, 2015. People have just forgotten that history. I'm sure most of them too, who were with them then, are here. That attests to the fact that there was no handover. If we had had handover, we would have known what to do. But let us start from. Ade Adeogun said it was Minister of Transport that bought the legacy jet. That is not an issue. That is not an issue. Yes, Minister of Transport, it was the state government that bought through Minister of Transport. It couldn't have been bought through government house. Having bought the legacy jet, which was for the use of the governor of the state, therefore it came under the control of the government house. The government house maintains it. The government house pays for everything. So the issue is not who bought. The issue is under whose control was the legacy jet and Dash 8 and then the helicopter. Our chief of staff here, I was fully in charge of the legacy jet. And as I left, somebody became chief of staff. Of course, it was still under the government, under the government house. Even as we are here today, the global bombardier is still under government house. It was not bought directly by government house, but it was bought through Ministry of they handed over to government house for use. So that's the simple thing. So there's no way the legacy jet used by the governor can leave the shores of this place without the chief of staff knowing that the legacy jet is being taken away for refurbishment or whatever, as the case may be, as they alleged. That is not correct. And people must be able to tell people the simple truth. You know, what that is that? When I hear so many people talk, I wonder where, by the time we are plotting for Abuja to be governor, I don't even know them, I don't even know their names. But when you see them speak today, they talk as if they even knew what happened. How did the water enter Menelon? They even know more than Amechi himself. They concoct all lies. Remember that Amechi wrote a letter to the State House of Assembly that they should give approval for him to trade off this legacy jet in order to buy the new Global Express. He wrote a letter. And they forgot that that letter is there. That letter was written in July 11, 2011. We have it. Signed by him to the Speaker of the State House of Assembly that it should permit him to trade off this plane, trade in this plane and buy the Global Express. That was in July 2011. Unfortunately, the sea went ahead and bought this Global Express without trading in the legacy jet. Now, as a responsible government, you took the asset of the state legacy jet to Germany for refurbishment or whatever. Let us assume it was 2012. How many years does it take to build a plane? I'm not to talk about refurbishing a plane. The highest time a plane can go for full inspection to stay long is no more than 6 months. So it took them the plane to be there in 2012. It took them for the plane to be there in 2013. It took them for the plane to be there in 2014. Then it took them for the plane to be there in 2015. Are you telling me that you gave us a handover note that the plane is there? If it is so, where are the documentation to show that this was what he did? It was in 2016 we started getting intelligence that, look, are we willing to sell our plane? I said, which plane? They said the Legacy 600 jet, that they saw it in Germany, is in Ruag. I sent a team in 2016 to Germany to go and see whether it's true. Our Legacy jet 600 is there. Behold, they came by to say, yes, they have seen it. What happened? We were told that, well, that time the company called Ruag, but now it is called General Aeronautics Aviation. That the state said, look, they should inspect the plane. But after some few months, they didn't hear anything from them again. So there was no communication, nothing. So that's okay. What can be done now for us to take our plane back? They say, well, it has stayed there for how many years? Over 4 or 5 years. So the demurrage you must pay because it has been there taking the space of another plane. They are all desperate. They are not here to take people's plane and come and pack. And therefore we should pay about 780-something thousand euros. So we paid. Then what is to be done? We have to work on the plane. Refurbishment, overhaul, and this and that. They say we'll pay 1.4 million euros. We paid. Then the engine. Of course, you know that plane was produced by Embraer. Embraer had been bought over by Ogman in Portugal, Lisbon, so that they would take the two engines to Ogman to look at it and certify whether it still can be used. Ogman came back and said, well, yes, we can overhaul it, work it. That's okay. They said we must pay. We paid about 1.7 million euros. Now, after sometimes 2017, 2018, I said, what is going on? Of course, they had to say, look, they found this, they found that, they found this, they have to get details. At the end of the day, I said, no, I think this story is getting too much. It's better we go to Germany by myself and the relevant government, arms of government or agency. We went with the speaker, we went with the deputy speaker, we went with the attorney general. So that we'll be able to ascertain really the state of the aircraft. Now, luckily for us, we were satisfied with the work done. But let me just tell you the whole essence of why they took the plane to that area. The former governor felt that he was going to install a governor in 2015. If Dakuku had become governor, that was the end of the plane. That was just the whole essence. Because he felt Dakuku must be governor. And to the glory of God, he did not become. And that's why we are seeing that plane. That's why that plane is coming back latest by the end of March this year. Secondly, ask George Tolofare, where is Dash 8? Where is the handover note of Dash 8? The propeller plane, where is it? Those of us who were in council then, we realized that Chief Victor Dele offered to buy our Dash 8, the propeller plane, $5 million. In the Executive Council, the governor said no, that he had a better offer. And the better offer is from Cross River State, when Lele Moke was the governor of the state, and that they wanted to use it for the Obudu Ranch. And so that they have offered $6 million. And that out of that $6 million, Leah has paid 100 million naira as deposit of $6 million. Fine. Up to now, what is the balance? Where is our Dash 8? The Tolofare also tell us what happened to Dash 8. What did he put in the handover note, according to him, that happened to Dash 8? Now we have found the legacy justice on it. He said he put it in the handover note, which he handed over to himself. Now we have not found the Dash 8 propeller. What did they say about it? Let him tell us. Let Ade tell us too. Now we have not found the Dash 8. Where is it so that we can go and look for it? If they really sold it to Cross River State, where is the balance of 5.9 million? Because it was agreed that it will be sold at $6 million. And the government of Cross River State at that time paid down 100 million. So we should be having about we should remember about 5 million, no, not more than that. 5.9. So where is the balance? Or where is that it? Can anybody who knows Joe Tolofare, please inform him to tell us where the handover note of that one is to. If we go now and find it out, they say, oh, they put it in the handover note. Now you should tell us, where is our Dash 8? It's simple, it's government property. So what you don't know, you don't know. I'm sure. If you say the language, it was not crafted by Tolofare. It was written by somebody and he was told to sign. Of course, it's a foolish man that does that. No right-thinking person will go and say, look, there was handover note. To who? To who? Such asset that ought to be documented by the state and handed over to the due person coming. It's like I'm leaving office in May. next year, 10 days to May 29. It's when I know I'll prepare a handover. Do you know what's called handover note? A man who has stayed in office for 8 years. The documentation alone will be as voluminous as anything. It will be even more than a full textbook. If you talk about handing over. But because they don't know what governance is all about, to them governance is lies and lies and lies and lies. Nobody talks again about projects. I hear one sick man called Machinda said that, oh, I have indebted the state to 300 billion. Because of his lack of knowledge. This is a man who took money from the bank for farmers. Central bank money, over 4 billion. He went and prepared them and took all the money. If I say government, as we came, we have no choice but to pay. But he was indicted by the Umereju panel. Luckily, the matter is the Supreme Court. We believe one day it will end. We believe so. We won at the High Court, we won at the Court of Appeal. They've gone to the Supreme Court. How can a state owe 300 billion? Which bank will give a state loan to the tune of 300 billion? As I speak to you authoritatively, if there's any money we borrow from the bank, we must pay all before the end of our term. The last loan we took from Zere Bank was 25 billion. And the loan will be terminated in April 2023 because it's a monthly deduction paid. So it is tenured. The another bank we only bank with is Access Bank. We took 10 billion from Access Bank. We pay 900 million and every month. So before the end of this year, we are done with that 10 billion. The only money you can talk about, which is the central bank giving to states, like infrastructure money, and you pay it in 20 years' time. A good businessman, that is good money for me. Money that I will pay 20 years time. In essence, they are collecting 50 million. There's a moratorium of 3 years. You won't pay. Then you start paying after 3 years. And they're collecting for you 50 million naira every month for your FAC allocation. What is 50 million naira a month? Any other money is money owed by the military government. You know, in those days of, even from when Bayelsa was not created, all those money by the military government, loans from World Bank and this, if you see that's the money that the state is owing, I've never taken such loans. The next loan was the one they took for water, about $200 million. I was hesitant. I said, no, I will not do this. But people came, so please, I said, take the money. It was the administration. They took the loan. Unfortunately, when they were leaving, they could not access the money. They are the ones. The World Bank came here. I said, I'm not interested. I said, I'm not. I can 200 million. Talking about for 80-something billion. Not the commercial rate, but the central bank. So that was not me. And it is even managed by World Bank. You have no hand in it. So they have been silenced. Now look at our helicopter. You can't believe what has happened. A man means well for his people and get his assets for his people. And there was a contract between River State Government House and aero contractors to manage the helicopter and pay some money as they operate. I came here in 2015, May 29. I discovered that the agreement that Audley had with Aero had expired. And this last administration refused to even draw up another agreement to allow Aero to be using the helicopter. So Aero was operating it without a dime being paid to state government. So when I came on board, we started talking and talking. I said, how can I have a property? You are using my property free of charge. You are making money out of the property. I'm not getting anything. No. That's not the way it is done. Better get me back our helicopter. Today, Aero will tell me it has some problems. It had this problem. It had this problem. I didn't talk. That's okay. I will tell you too, even though we are not in the army, but we have some strategies of those who are in the army. So during the COVID period, I told Aero to come and carry me. That I want to go and inspect whether people are obeying or not. So when they landed here, I was okay, pilot, your job is completed. They send people, this. I said, look, your job is gone. Out of government house. Yes, I have to commando our helicopter. But I don't know where I can take it down. I can't go to Europe and fly. I'm not a pilot. So I called Air Force people. Come and check it. Come and fly it to the Air Force base. Keep it. Yes, we must find people to use it or we'll sell it off. But we cannot take our property and give to people making money, we're not making any dime. That is, what kind of Father Christmas is that? Ask Tolo Fare, since he's the one who gives handover note. As at time he was leaving, what was the handover note as regards our helicopter? And how were payments being made? So, what you don't know, don't allow yourself to be messed up. You know, I have always told people, in politics, if you know politics, it's interesting. If you don't know, you just go there and you mess up yourself. And I give it to him. I respect him. In those days in Uniport, he was one of those tough ones for a Viking fraternity. So it is very clear. If the issue here has to do with confraternity, then he will say yes. I gave a handover note. This was I gave to the executioner who was taking over for him as the last executioner. So that one, you're a professional. That's why you're in it. You know it. But not what you don't know in government. And somebody will go and prepare a document for you to sign. You go and sign. And abusing government that has even been helpful to you by not sending you to jail. After you have collected the government money, without denying your people that crucial project. You were commissioner for 8 years. And that's why I don't understand Nigerian politicians. People like that will go home to Bonny and stand and talk to Bonny people. And Bonny people will not ask them, you come, 8 years as House of Rep, as a commissioner, 8 years or 12 years in the State Assembly. What did you bring? What is your constituency project you brought? The only one people are supposed to take is when you took the money, the Bonny village jetty. And then you people will not ask them question. The only question you will ask will come and tell you, make sure that it is our turn to be governor. The one it was our turn to provide project for, did you provide it? It did not. And such politicians cannot and should not speak and talk in this state. Such politicians should not and cannot, because it doesn't have what it takes. I don't even want to go to other areas, because it will be a mess. It doesn't have what it takes to talk about state government, to talk about me. I've never been a vindictive person, and I will never be. If I was, most of them, they were running away, they were living in Lagos. Is the money not finished now? The rivers are insecure. They're hiring big houses in Lagos, in Abuja. How far? So, the river state is safe now. Are they not all back home? They're back home. The money, it didn't there. When you live on lies, you will see that sooner or later it will expose you. Look at the gas turbine. The gas turbine was sold even without due process. I don't want to go into all those kind of things. $308 million. $308 million. This money was paid in December 2014. When they were doing their Congress National Convention, who will be president at this. 2014, December. I came in office May 29th of May 2015. What was left in the account? $208,000. From $308 million to $208,000 within 6 months from Access Bank. The statement is there. Even when we are querying them, how did this $50 million move again back to Sahara? Sahara bought the gas turbine. $50 million again left our account to Sahara. And I asked them question. I don't Nigerians there. The way that speak this one. It's so terrible. We went to Holland. We paid 190 million euros for our gas turbine. We went to Holland. I don't know those who went with me. Many people cried. See our money. $190 million euro paid for gas turbine. Lying there. GE said, look, they cannot continue to keep the gas turbine. The demurrage is 7 million euros that we will pay before we take it. 7 million euros. How would any reasonable government allow that? If you had handed over properly to us and had handover note, would we have allowed, since that time till now, such assets? No. These are information we get from people. Do you know why we're charging Sarpen to court? They gave Sarpen a job of $130 million to build the next farm station. Go and see there. We are free paying the $130 million. The job was not executed. Apart from that, Sarpen even overtook the Sarpan was overpaid with another 7 billion naira. You know, we have so much money that time, but we didn't know what to do with the money. If I have that money, I would have built another 15, 20 flyovers now everywhere. So we're prosecuting Sarpan for fraud. The matter is coming up tomorrow. It's a matter that the state government is personally interested, and we have told Sarpan it must refund us our money. I need the money for other flyovers. I need it. I need it. Yes, because it makes you happy. At least when they come home, they are driving everywhere free. Even in their houses, there's no more traffic. Why didn't they stop that traffic that when it was their turn? Instead of you to accept the reality that, look, there's no way you could match our government. It was not possible. There was money in this state. Money in this state. There was a time. In a month, we got 100 billion naira. When I was there, at Chief of Staff. The issues. That's how you saw build the school here, build the school here. Even when there are no people living in that area. You see bush everywhere. You see the schools, not roofed. People are not living there because lack of planning. What do I want my state to be? How do I want my state to be? That was what led us. If such money was used to develop the infrastructure of the state, by now, we wouldn't have been at this level. We wouldn't have been at this level. People were thinking, oh, with that kind of money, we don't have free building Transcalabar. With that kind of money, you are finished. And then we that started it, they went and paid boys money so that the job would not go on, to kidnap the workers. As if like kidnap all, I will go and bring them other people. Because it's a job that must be done and must be completed. We hear, not stories that are told. Oh, it's because of politics. The next day you say because they want to marry him, that's why I'm doing all this. That's what you hear. But it doesn't matter. It must be said one day, and today is the day that I've chosen to say it. So people should know that government can be run as if it's a personal property. I've loved government for more than 1 year. But look at how I'm refurbishing it. For who is coming in May? I'm not waiting to say, by next year, let me start. No. You must prepare that. It is not your personal place, not your personal property. When I came, there was not even a bed to sleep, nothing. Nothing. Everything was taken away, everything. So, it is necessary you have the facts. Now we are still looking for that shade, the propeller. Is Marcos here? Is Marcos in the here? Is a Boma here? Where are two of you? These are the two agents of the Ntalive. No, stand. Two of you. No, stand, two of you. Now that you normally send me text, it's sent to you. Now you convey back my message. Because it is two of you. That every time you not allow me to sleep. Two of you. So please go and tell myself, where is the handover note of dash 8? The propeller. Where is it? And I want that answer back in 24 hours. So, let the world know, these are the two agents of him. So please, my dear brothers and sisters, let nobody deceive you. Now, we have other properties. You know, they don't think. You have the stock exchange there. Is it not correct? It's not correct. Nobody has ever asked. That stock exchange has been designed long for 17 floors. When the former Attorney General was alive, I said, look, revoke that place. Criminals have taken over the place. Then the former president of NBA, Mahmoud, was president of NBA, and incidentally, the chairman of President of Stock Exchange. So he ran to us. And we said, look, why is it that if you have completed the one of Lagos and Abuja, why is this one like this? For how many years now? He told me, look, he must tell me the truth, that they have no intention to complete that building. I said, well, our own, they have no intention to complete. Then criminals have taken over. It's okay. Send it to the River State government. They said, oh, 2 billion, 3 billion. As if you said that next time, I'll revoke it now. So, suddenly they sold it for us, about 1 billion something. Within 3 months, we sold it and made big money. We sold it and make big money and signed a contract with the person, with the company. You must not reduce the floor so I can still have the same. You can make amendments since the drawing has been done more than 20, 30 years ago. And you must complete with this society. But unfortunately, COVID came in and the company applied. I feel happy. Each time I'm passing there now, I see the landscape of that area. It has changed the landscape of that area. That is what a city is supposed to. You know, we have a stake in new Nigerian networks. And by us also. So new had a problem. Not that we have gotten 1 naira from new one day. Amcon took it because they are owing. River State government wrote to Amcon, look, we are interested to buy over that debt. 400 something million. We bought it. After, but mind you, new is not, we have a share. But we didn't come as those who are owners of the share. We came as business people. That's the River State government. We bought it for something. Before you know it, we sold it about 1.6 billion. Took the money, put in another project. You know, you see, if we are allowed, and some other people go and take that, perhaps I also had a share. Even though they have gone to court as well, we bought as business people. We have sold as business people. So whatever you are seeing, you know who you are. We have made, we invested and we made profit. And it has helped us to do one or two things. The same thing, you know these 10 floors here at the Hybrid Mary Gardens. Amcon took it. Amcon took it. We went to Amcon. Look, this thing, the River State government is also interested. We say we should pay social, we say too much for state government. We paid. Then we to want and look for people who have money. They brought their money. I said, give us. We sold. And we gave the man so number of years, he must finish the place with. So that that place cannot look like that. We have taken back the NDC building. We'll go and see the place. It's gone. We have advertised it for sale. Government cannot keep these structures. We cannot. We don't have what it takes. Look at the waterline houses. It was by force I drove out the people. Civil servants collected money for years, rent. So I'm not ready to do that. I'm not ready to do that. So we have advertised for LDC. If you have partners, go and find, go and buy it. Give us the money, we'll invest it somewhere. When you buy it, you use it for a business, you pay us revenue. It's business. You employ workers, you pay us revenue. So to add to our IGR every month. You see, in governance, you must think like a business person. So we have advertised it. Where's the Commission of Housing? Which newspapers do they advertise? Now, you see, this is what we are not doing it without foreign process. Executive Council had to approve. We had to write to the State Assembly, even though the law allows us. But we still want ahead to put it in the National Assembly to be part of the funding of our budget of 2022. Because I went to school, so I know. And because I'm not a member of any confraternity, so I know what I was doing. When you're supposed to be in class, you are busy flogging other people. And when the time has come now for you to put what you've learned as an educated man, you know, and that property before, right? And one day I told the government of Edo State, no, it's our land. I revoked it. So I know that property is government property. I took it. Go and see that's one of the best property along that line. Can you imagine that property is valued than the NDDC property? But we are asking ourselves, what do we do? The value of that property, 4.something billion. I've told Abia, since he has a bank, should borrow money from the bank, give us 4 billion. That 4 billion can start, can pay 50% of another flyover, or other so many other small roads, like Cultural Town Road, all those small roads. Yes. Or you put it in one of the schools, health, it will help you. Instead of you leaving it there to say people will rent, the money goes to where now? When they rent. You know, the way the civil service has killed the state, I'm sure they are praying every day for me to leave. Look at OGR. Turn to something else. Turn to something else. Criminals hiding under uncompleted duties, lands. No, I said no. It won't be that way. So someone, all of it get out. I gave them, according to your level, 20 million, 50 million. No, not here. Why you spread there, this year, spread this year. I mean, look. It's terrible. It's terrible. And government also went and acquired properties. And I said, allocate it to our people who want to build in OGRA. Let them come and live in OGRA. OGRA is even for other people. Why should I, as a governor, only me have a house in OGRA and all other people are living for Oromo, coming for Oromo, coming to this and coming? They are equally entitled to live in all the GRA. So that you feel comfortable. Can't live in an environment where maybe I open my window and see where they are spreading, what they are spreading. You know, it's such a terror at this time. No. We have to bring back OGRA, what it used to be. Go to about Macaulay, see what we have done. Change everywhere, put street lights. That is the way it's supposed to be. Not where you are coming in the night, darkness everywhere. No. Even in their own houses, I put good roads and street light for them so that they can see the difference. You know. So I felt it is necessary I brief you so that nobody will come and start telling you lies. If they want to debunk, they should take a live coverage and show the world whom they handed over to. Let the governor show the world. When the former governor showed the world, this was my handover note. At least if they had, hopefully if they couldn't stay, Telekuru was deputy governor. Was it not? They should have given to him to hand over. Is that not correct? I assume him. Or they should have given to the permanent secretary, government house. As the governor comes in, hand over this, which is not even the case. So people should stop talking about what they don't know. If you don't know the facts, you don't know the facts. Yes, you plan. It's like that. You see the danger in this government is. And doing all kinds of bad things, for example. I refuse to follow the law because I believe that I will bring somebody who will be the governor, right? And when the person comes, nobody will talk about it, even though that may not necessarily be. But you see, when that is an evil plot, God does not allow it. All those my plots that I'm going to impose the governor, because of certain things I've done, I want to cover, God does not allow it. Even if he allows it, that relationship cannot last long. And that's what you're seeing when you see governor bodies, until 6 months, until 1 year, if they last long. Because it is not easy for you to control a human being who is in power. It is not easy. Forget about anybody lying down for you on the ground every morning. He has not seen power. He don't know what his power is. Did you understand me? Can you imagine me walking in and people are standing up? Do you know the power you're talking about? So when people say, that's you power, you don't know what you're talking about. When they are coming, they say national anthem for you. Before I tell you, do you see national anthem? It's the power. It's the power. So when people come to tell you, I will follow your legacy, which legacy? Which legacy? So when people tell me this, I'll just shake my head. I say, do you know that I'm very experienced? And one man that I passed through from local government to state to national. So it is difficult for anybody to come and tell me loyalty. It is difficult. Loyalty is not said. Loyalty is not by mouth. Loyalty is by conduct and attitude. That's loyalty. I used to tell some people what they say. Then later they look at themselves. How did I hear? Me too. I'm not sleeping. I say, I'm not sleeping. I'm not sleeping. Everywhere you meet, there's a spirit there. Yes. There's nowhere politicians will converge where you not see my spirit there. It will be there. So as you finish, I get everything you say. When I see you, I shake your hand. I say, can we have a bottle of drink? Yes, we'll drink. You go. When I tell all kinds of plots, people are plotting, people are plotting. And they know that those plots have no basis, cannot work. No work anyway. So, you know, one of the things I stand tall is because maybe that's how God wanted it. If I had had a godfather that said, I put you there, I'm the one who brought you from Member. Maybe no, but maybe I may not have performed up to this level. Oh yeah, if I have boys around me, my boys, who will go and cause confusion everywhere. Maybe, or maybe not. Ask Wichinda. The day police told me that he assaulted the arrest, I said I should go and carry him. I said, carry him. I don't care. You assault what we are doing. People who are doing illegal oil bunkering. You can't block. I said, you go and carry him. I'm sure the day they brought him, he knew he was dying. He thought I would just tell him to go. Let him go to say. Till I said, okay, leave him when he was leaving. When he was breathing. So we are moving towards the end of our period. What everybody requires is a constant prayer to Almighty God, that the state should continue to be intact, that the party should continue to be together and work for the interests of the state. Because I doubt you, if anybody takes over from me, and the people don't see Johannesburg again, they don't see Lubris again, they don't see that person prepare that you are going to die soon. Because they will not take anything lower than the standard was set. They will not take it. And you must, to have the responsibility to work for you, your mind must be very, very strong. It's not when I give them contract, I think the money is there. Sometimes when I give them contract, my BP will go up. Because your brother cannot work when there's no money. There's no friendship about it. When you see their equipment going out, that's that I withdraw it. Then what you see is what equipment there. But somehow I don't know how God does it. Each time I give them job, somehow money will just come. I will just wake up, I can do that, call me, sir, oh God. I said, how did it come? He said, I take from one of these first. Okay, I'm not interested. Let the money be there. Bring the papers. Pay. Before that one will enter into people who want me to give them money for medical trip and this and that. So I better spend it in project before the medical request will because I've never seen a medical request. Even some people even give death to themselves. That, even when somebody is not sick of dying, he's saying that, look, the person is dying, no. So I have had people who want to run governorship, who are moving about and this and that. Some of you should be careful the statement you make, because some of the statements revert to me. You have to be careful. And when you make such statement, clearly I've cancelled you. I've cancelled you. If I want people to spend their money, I will make you spend money, you collect for it, you spend money. I see that my own candidate, whom I will support, is leading. I'll tell the national, cancel it. So you bring another money. Start all over. As I win it, cancel it. Then you start to sell that 50 plus of land, 20 plus of land. I said, go and buy it at the back. Sometimes we use subtly to punish you. So when you finish and come out, you say, man, I'm finished. That is strategy. If you want to deal with your opponent, your enemy, squeeze him by making sure he spends a lot of money. Then let them be giving him hope that they cancelled it because of him. You do that, and he'll be able to say, yes, the national has cancelled it because I wrote the petition. I laugh. I say, look at you. They'll cancel it again. I can set up people at the national to be collecting your money. As a national secretary, we'll work with him. Give him the list of people he wants. It will not go anywhere. Then he will collect and collect and collect. So, it is not because he wants to be governor. Search your soul. Am I prepared to be governor? Such a soul, not because of the name governor. Am I prepared? Am I ready to pass through this hurdle? Am I prepared to risk my health? Some people want to be governor for the sake that they want to be governor. And they'll be signing red barrel. But yes. Those ones are not the governor. Those ones are occupying the seat of the governor. So to be a governor, you must search your soul. You remember when I was minister, when I was running for governor, I came out all total. All total. I came out because I was prepared for it. Even the people in government, they couldn't buy the buses I bought for each local government. I bought buses, each local government, 3. Coordinator, GDA, and party, 3. In 2014, 2015. Calculate how much it is. That about fighting a sitting governor. So how many of you can buy it now? You are waiting for me for anointment. You go to the pastors. Luckily, they didn't make me a pastor to do anointing. Let the pastors anoint you. I'm not anointing anybody. But all I've said to God, help me that a better person will emerge in this state to move this state forward. You know, so I urge all of you to be calm. It is still early for us to say it must be this person, it is too early. The president should sign the electoral amendment bill. INEC will release the timetable, right? The party will now release their own guideline and timetable. Then, you start spending money. Stop all this drive, come to my, I won't mention that one. Even before I told them to start consulting, some people have started consulting. I know those who want to prove stubborn, but they won't get to the stage where they will prove that stubborn. I don't know why people don't know whom they are fighting. You won't get to the stage where you will prove that stubborn. We know what to do. In this school we went, is it for nothing? We want to read law, is it for nothing? We know we have to squeeze it. So before you arrive where you put stubborn, the gate is closed. So I thank you. And please discountenance anything you are saying. Oh, you'll be VP to this. You'll be this and that. Please discountenance all those social media work. The SAT will make a statement very soon. I can tell you that. The SAT will make a statement very soon. So it is not all this, you'll be vice president to this. This people are consulting. The day the SAT makes a statement, Nigeria will know that they were not joking. It's not to say, it's not to come out and consulting. It's a business. You are consulting, yet you have declared. It's not after consultation you declare. You have already declared that you want to run, and then you say you are consulting. What are you consulting again? You know? And people take the SAT for granted. Oh, we are not together. No problem. No problem. If we didn't know yesterday, today we know. At the time the SAT will speak, people will not know. It's not all this intimidation, it must go to the north, it must. Those things are not necessary. What is necessary is that the party should be cohesive, to make sure that the party gets it right. Then when you threaten that it must be north, then you are not trying to make peace. Or when you threaten it must be south, then you are not trying to make peace. It's a matter of sitting down, understanding. Look at this, look at it, look at it, look at this. That is the way it's supposed to be. But no people coming out to say this. Forget about Dobese, with all due respect. With all due respect, Dobese are people trying to destroy the party, which is not good. If we follow the kind of statement that was making every time, by now the party would have been destroyed. But we said no. Go ahead. We are assets, we are not liabilities. If we say we are going to support the party, we will support the party with everything we have. We are not in America where you do television campaign. No, it's not done here. Yes. Who's interested in that television campaign? When we come out, we will choke them. They know we will choke them. We will choke them. So everybody should relax, let the South do their proper homework, and then they will make a proper statement that will be good for Nigeria and that will be good for the interest of the People's Democratic Party. So don't, if they like, they should put my name, Vice business. Or put my name here, I'm running with their business. If I want to run, nobody can stop me too. Nobody can stop me. But you must work as a team to build as an opposition party. If you don't get it right in choosing your candidate, in putting a cohesion, then you are doomed for failure. And that is not what we want now. That's why PDP governors are trying to say how everybody can work together to see that we move from. Yes, you may not have total, but you have a common number that can bring the party together. The party is as set as winning the election. Not these people who are hurried, busybody, those who want to be chief of staff to an election that has not been won. You're already a chief of staff. Those who want to be secretary, they're already secretary to government, even when the candidate has not met. You know, it just all kinds of putting yourself. People are just, oh, if he becomes, I'll be the one that will be in charge of this. I'll be the one that's why this country is going the way it is going. Some of them have started meeting, calling business community to meet with them. Those things won't work. No business move will determine what will happen in our party. No amount of money anybody can put in PDP that will make anybody to buy the candidates of PDP, it is not possible. It is not possible. So if you like, go and call your business first, tell them stories, invite some few governors, let them meet where? Meet where? For PDP. You must form another party, not this party. If say I have started carrying propaganda or that I'm quarreling with the national chairman, each time they just pick me. Each time, you ask yourself, when we are there inaugurated, we have not even had one neck meeting. The last meeting we ever had, the first meeting we ever had with them was the one we hosted in Port Harcourt, yeah? Where the chairman came and made a presentation of budget. People just all kinds of things. That's how they are. They believe that one of those who supported the chairman, therefore, if they cause rift, what rift are you causing? Okay, because the rift, for whose benefit? Assuming. For whose benefit? At the level of Dobesi, they say he's a high chief. Who go on television to tell people, send you to zoning. I can't believe this. Even if somebody's to say it, is he the one to say it? At that level? At that level? Because of what? And he has arrogated the power of the party to himself by telling him when Atiku wins, he will now hand over to East. Is that not the decision of the party? No, you have not won. You have already arrogated the zoning where to go. I mean, have you seen how people can cause? And you think you are talking to people who don't understand. You went to campaign for your candidate. Instead of you to campaign, you say, after him, it is the turn of the Southeast. So there will be no more party. Party cannot take a decision at all. The Bosse has zoned it. And the Bosse has signed that no candidate will do one term. I mean, look at us politicians. Somebody is coming to tell me that story. He said, and not even the candidate that is saying it. It's the Arab man that said he will do. I mean, I've never seen a politics like this. I'm the candidate, or I'm the aspirant. You've not allowed me to go and speak to the people. You are not going to tell them I'm going to do one time. Even if you sign it on paper, I would not politicians. I was small children in this game. Somebody enters Asarok. You think that if there's any way for amendment, the board would have agreed to this? The board would have amended that constitution to remain there. So what the person will be going around television. Say no to zoning. Satis, don't worry. After Atiku, it's you. Yeah, Satis don't know anything. It is you. Now come and tell them when it is their own turn. You don't even know whether you were alive till then. So there's no God sign in this. 2027, you have plotted who will take over. So God has no role at all. Okay, if you tell the Southeast people and they agree, and before that time you die, who will Southeast call now? That you told them that they will take over. Who will they call? You're already dead. I mean, how can people play this type of politics? Instead of them to move from one state to the other, to tell the state to work together, we have the opportunity to take over. Nigerians are waiting for us to take over. The only way we can take over is if we are united. It's not, Nigerians can't wait for you when you are going there to separate the party, to cause division in the party. I told the national chairman yesterday, but this is what you're supposed to do, to call them to order. You don't take the role of the party. You can't make that statement on behalf of the party. But when you allow them to make statement, when people like us make statement, then nothing will remain again. Whether you like me or not, I'm not a liability to the party. I'm an asset to the party. So if you like, you find your face, you don't find your face. I am an asset. I'm not a liability. So no people who are liabilities, they just move about and tell you stories. Every day would like because you have a right to one station and this just. So I don't look at the station again because I don't want to watch all those kind of things. It's a terrible thing. I've never seen this kind of politics. They have been abusing me. You know the funny thing I see, they've been abusing me everywhere. I think we'll deal with it the way we do. No problem. After dealing with me, they will still come and beg me. Yes. You know, people think they are very smart. They're not smart. They've started again to cause some division among the governors. And I tell them, at the end of the day, who will benefit, who will lose? Who will lose? I can sit here today and I say I'm not moving anywhere. It's the governorship of River State. I know I'm campaigning nowhere. And the campaign and the projects. If I go to Oyibo, I tell them. If I go to Iche, I tell them. If I go to Amoma, I won't go anywhere. Can they come and campaign here without me? With what campaign will they make? So when you abuse people, then you later turn around to go and use them. It can't happen again. It happened in 2019, but it cannot happen again. It cannot happen again. This time, anybody who wants to run an election, who wants to talk to River State, you must tell me. Not political talk, of course. You know how I will hold you, if I talk. So, I crave the Nigerians to be patient. Things will be better in the party. The way they are going will be better. We are hoping Ekiti and Osun will get it right. And when we get it right, you will see what will happen. Attorney General Boss has said they never handed over. Chief of Staff said they never handed over. There's one. So everybody should be patient with us. State Assembly, National Assembly, Council Chairman. Everybody in government, it's not easy to give everybody something. It's not easy. But the only way it is easy is to provide projects that will touch everybody. But if anybody thinks, I will give contracts, you know, human relationship is also important in life. Human relationship. When you seem to be antagonizing the governor or trying to show him that you're old, governor have no choice also to be on his own. Well, it's like even at school for me to see how I can be on my own. Now I'm leaving. I don't even want friendship again. Now I'm leaving. Because it's natural as we leave. So many people will not see you again. So let me now, be staying at home. Saturday and Sunday, I didn't step out. So somebody came to see me and said, nobody. I said, you have to start living it now. Because I should leave. In fact, by April, next year, March, April, if we have 100 people, 85 is gone. Then by May, 5 will remain. And if that 5 that will escort you to go to the house. After that time, 2 weeks, no phone call. You begin to say, my phone is not ringing again. So start now to adjust to know that it is only your wife you'll be seeing and your children. And 1 or 2 persons who will be your friend for now. Massa. Now, as I be here now. Yeah, you are my master. You are my Lord. You are my king. It's because I'm still governor. The last day I go, EFCC, I think we said it. We know you've been into trouble now. You said it now. We know you've been into trouble. So these are the things you should prepare yourself. Thank you, and God bless you.
The national anthem.
We sincerely thank you for your time while this briefing by the River State government lasted. At this point, we will now be rejoining our network service for the continuation of other scheduled program. On behalf of the outside broadcast crew, I'm Kingsley Amajiri. Good afternoon.
The debate for or against orthodox or traditional medicine has for a long time